Yeah.
Yeah, now it is.
All right. Got it. Okay. All right. I've got to get the talk. Oh, here we go. All right. Here's one of my themes that I come to again and again. Here we are in the last day of our third virtual retreat. And we won't meet again until July 2023, a full year. So what will you do now between now and then in general and in Dharma-wise? Anybody have any comments? What's up for your next year?
Oh, looking forward to you to come again, give more interesting subject.
Oh, is that it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to having the retreat in person so I can have that fabulous Chinese food.
Sure, you can come anytime you want. Anytime.
Anybody else?
Prostrating as a practice.
Oh yeah, learning prostrating. Yeah, that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Huh?
Buddhist aerobics, very good for you. Okay, one of the things I hope to do is get more hiking in, which I didn't get with the pandemic, but I've gotten some in. And on many Sundays before the pandemic, I would hike deep into the mountains of Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Maryland.
Wow.
I even went with Jane once on a short hike in Maryland. Many summer days were triple H days, which is the forecast for today here where I live. Hot, humid, and hazy.
Oh.
Yep. At times, the climbs were steep, or as we hikers say, strenuous. Stop and catch your breath kinds of hikes, kinds of climbs. Many hikes were good and vigorous hikes of about 10 miles. Now, I can also say, in a metaphorical kind of way, that I'm hiking today, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, out beyond the brick walls of Bodhi Monastery is the Kittatinny Ridge, which begins in south central Pennsylvania and extends into New Jersey to become the highest topographical point in the state, which is not very high. The Delaware Water Gap cuts right through it. It is a rocky but thickly forested mountain ridge that is rich in the growth of old oak trees, tulip poplars, beeches, birches, hemlocks, hickory, and much more. The ridge is well populated with white-tailed deer, black bears, foxes, coy wolves, pheasants, wild turkeys, turkey hawks, red-tailed hawks, and much more. The Kittatinny Ridge is a low and gentle easternmost edge of the great Appalachian mountain chain, a very ancient mountain range that stretches in a diagonal line for more than 2,500 miles from northeastern Georgia to just off the northern tip of Newfoundland, Canada. It is one of the greatest geographical features of this continent. The Appalachians, which some call Appalachians, are about 480 million years old. They are far more ancient than the Himalayas, the Andes, the Alps, and the Rockies. And so it is that they have undergone much more change than those other mountain ranges. They are today the very time-worn remnants of peaks that were once as high as the Alps and the Rockies. From a Buddhist perspective, they are the very embodiment, a concrete testament to Sabbe Sankara Anicca. What does that mean, Jane? Are you there?
It is impermanent.
Yes, all formations are change, impermanence. Mountains are change. Mountains are movement. They're not eternal. To hike on, over, along, and around the Appalachians' greenish-gray, lichen-covered rocks, cliffs, and boulders is to walk through millions of years of continuous change, very slow geologic change, and more rapid biological change. The observant hiker cannot overlook the endless change in the cliffs and rock slides of these mountains. Even more so, the observant hiker will witness again and again the relatively more rapid change of the forests, the endless cycles of birth, growth, maturation, disease, decay, death, and decomposition of the trees and other plants. Not to mention the coming and going of the seasons. The observant hiker will note the arresting contrast between a spring fawn and the carcass of a dead deer. Standing alone on a trail deep in these mountains, the contemplative hiker can hear the silence and sense an intimation of both infinity and finitude, of both eternity and momentariness. In some places, he or she can experience a thunderous silence. A hike in these mountains can be a Buddhist contemplation. So it must be clear now, as some of you have already known anyhow, that I'm one of those people who treasure this great ancient mountain chain, and that I am fortunate to be able to live in its great valley. I'm right in the middle of the great valley, and to hike along its trails on some Sundays of the year, which I did a lot of before the pandemic. While I still hike on the Appalachian Trail, which is 13 miles or 19 minutes from my home, I also frequently hike the towpath of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, which runs alongside the Potomac River, just 1.5 miles or 3 minutes from my home. But why am I talking about hiking the Appalachians and the C&O Canal towpath at this retreat? Well, there are several reasons. First of all, this is a Buddhist retreat, and Buddhism is something that one does. It is a performing art, just as life is a performing art. Truth be told, Buddhism is not a noun, it's a verb. And Buddhism, and actually all nouns are slow-moving verbs, and Buddhism is something that one does in one's life. And in my case, that life involves hiking and walking. Another reason is that a hiking trail, like the 2,160-mile Appalachian Trail, which passes not far from Bodhi Monastery, is an excellent metaphor for the Buddhist path. For hiking such a trail has an intimacy and a pace that other metaphors for the path, like roads and highways, cannot convey. After all, the practice of the Dharma is a most personal, a most intimate thing. Zen Master James Ishmael Ford calls the Buddhist path the intimate way. Another reason is that hiking and walking have become modes of Buddhist practice for me. One of the ways I best integrate Buddhist practice into my life, or at least into my weekend life. Still, another is that whatever I hike, aspects of the Dharma emerge in my mind. In these and other ways, my walking the Buddhist path can be called hiking the Buddhist trail, the Buddha trail. How does one hike? There are different ways, of course, to hike. For example, hiking can be a slow and careful nature study in the manner of Henry David Thoreau, which he described in his essay, Walking. And hiking can be a form of walking meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh praised walking meditation and did it a lot. The mountains are the meditation room. As an old Korean grandmother once observed, the temple is everywhere. The universe is the temple. If practice is the way we live or try to live, then everywhere is the practice place, be it in Lower Manhattan or on the Appalachian Trail. Hiking as a walking meditation is a wonderful practice. First, let me note that many hikers are like many meditators. That is, they find themselves on the trail with their heads full of thoughts and feelings and images about the past and the future, about other places and other people, about chores and obligations, about hopes and fears. They have the monkey mind or popcorn brain. Many hikers, truth be told, are simply not present on the trail. They are not wholly present on the trail. They are physically on the trail in the mountains, but they are mentally on the sidewalk in the city or the suburbs, or they are at work, at home, or at the mall, or they are being chatty as they go. So they are moving along the trail with some distraction, and because of that, they are likely to trip, slip, or fall, and thus twist an ankle, or break a leg or an arm. When hiking, we need to be mindful of the roots and the rocks on the trail because we can easily trip on them. We need to be mindful of branches and pebbles on the trail, but we can slip when they roll under our shoes or boots. We need to be mindful of the brambles and the briars alongside the trail, for they can scratch us and tear our clothing. Fallen leaves on rocks can make us slip, and wet moss on rocks can make us slide. So mindfulness or awareness of the trail is essential. Mindfulness or awareness is essential for our Buddhist practice. We need to be aware of our practice path. If we are muddled, not mindful, about what we are doing, we can stumble or fall on the path. And then falling, we can hurt ourselves. That is, we can become disappointed in or discouraged with the practice. How many novice meditators have begun their practice with great dedication, motivation, only to let it slip away for whatever reason? How many practitioners have let the demands of daily life interfere with their practice and then let the practice itself dwindle away? There is an anonymous saying that sums up procrastination that arises from the entanglements of daily life. It goes like this: too young to meditate, too bad to meditate, too in love to meditate, too busy to meditate, too worried to meditate, too sick to meditate, too tired to meditate, too late to meditate. And that is the point. There are roots and rocks and branches and pebbles in the trail of life. And the trail of life is the Buddhist path of practice. But if we are prepared and mindful, we are not often likely to slip, trip, or fall when we do. We will be able to pick ourselves up and move right along. And in this, I don't just mean practice as meditation alone in the narrow sense of just sitting in vipassana or samatha or some form of Zen. I mean practice or praxis as a whole. For formal sitting meditation is just one part of the integrated whole of practice, which is clear from the presentations of the way as the three trainings, the Eightfold Path, the six perfections. Just as a hiker should avoid distraction, storms, tiredness, rushing, getting lost, so the meditator must be alert to the 5 hindrances of the distraction of sensual desire, the storm of ill will, the tiredness of dullness and drowsiness or sluggishness, the rush of restlessness and worry, and the getting lost of doubt. A side note, a number of decades ago, an American psychotherapist said that the 5 hindrances also interfere with human relationships. So mindful of them in relationships is also a good practice. Now, when I hike along a trail or walk along a towpath and make myself truly present on the path, I simply focus on the alternating left and right movement of my feet. This particular kind of walking meditation, which I should perhaps call hiking meditation, is more akin to what is called choiceless awareness than to the intensely focused and exquisitely slow form of walking meditation that I do in a meditation hall. On the trail, when I directly focus on simple actions of the left then right movement of my feet in conjunction with the awareness of the trail, wonderful things happen. wonderful changes happen. First, I become calm and tranquil. Second, I become keenly aware of the process of flow or movement, or what I call dynamic moments. Third, I become receptive to what I might call an experiential unfolding as I proceed along the trail. Fourth, I become clear about what is happening. Fifth, I become aware of many things I would not otherwise have seen, heard, smelled, or felt. Finally, and foremost, the sense of I evaporates, and what remains is simply hiking without a hiker. The habitual self-reference has dissolved, or we could say the self has become transparent. The hiker, the trail, the trees, the clouds, and the mountain are an integrated process, a dynamic unfolding of shifting facets and vistas and angles. However, that only lasts until I slip or stumble, and I will. And then the hiking I or self returns. Even the most seasoned and aware hikers will trip, slip, or fall now and then. The key is to be experienced or seasoned enough in walking with awareness that the stumble is small, and then one simply moves on. Many experienced hikers use hiking poles or trekking rods, often called sticks. For the meditator, these are like having a proper meditation set up to support practice. A great many seasoned hikers hike with friends. For the meditator, these folks are their kalyana mitras, their noble or good spiritual friends. I will say more about them in a few minutes. This, of course, means becoming an experienced or seasoned hiker. To become such a hiker means actually hiking, getting out there on the trail, not procrastinating, not just reading about it, not just thinking about it, not saying when I'm in the mood, perhaps next week, next month, next year, next never. It means hiking in all seasons and many kinds of weather. Of course, this requires motivation. This requires preparedness. This requires maintenance. And I would say, this requires the support of others. That is to say, there is more to hiking than simply putting your feet on the trail. Of course, putting your feet on the trail is fundamental. But if you want success in the simple, direct, straightforward being present on the trail that I just described, and if you want success over time in hiking, you must pay attention to all aspects or ingredients of serious hiking. And this is also true of hiking the Buddha Trail. The first ingredient, of course, is motivation. What motivates one to do a hike? What sustains the motivation? My fellow hikers hike the mountain trails because they want vigorous aerobic and weight-bearing exercise, because they want to get away from the cities and suburbs and into a less spoiled nature, because they want clean air, because they want to hear the wind rustle the leaves of the forest canopy. They want a more direct, fundamental, unmediated experience, what the Japanese now call forest bathing. But what about hiking the Buddha Trail? What initially motivates one? And what sustains that motivation? The Buddha responds to the first question with a beautiful nature simile in the Upanishad Sutta, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Just as monks, when the rain, the Buddha said, just as monks, When rain descends heavily upon some mountaintop, the water flows down along the slope and fills the clefts, gullies, and creeks. These being filled, fill up the pools. These being filled, fill up the ponds. These being filled, fill up the streams. These being filled, fill up the rivers. These being, the rivers being filled, fill up the great ocean. In the same way, monks, suffering is the supporting condition for faith. Faith is the supporting condition for joy. Joy is the supporting condition for rapture. Rapture is a supporting condition for tranquility. Tranquility is the supporting condition for happiness. Happiness is a supporting condition for concentration. Concentration is a supporting condition for the knowledge and vision of things as they are. And the knowledge and vision of things as they are, as they really are, is the supporting condition for disenchantment. Disenchantment is the supporting condition for dispassion. Dispassion is a supporting condition for emancipation. Emancipation is a supporting condition for the knowledge of the destruction of the cankers or the intoxicants, karmic propensities. So first comes the experience of dukkha, which is the first noble truth. But that is not enough. Just the experience of dukkha is insufficient. As Bhikkhu Bodhi has written in his commentary on this sutra, the Sutra Upanisa Sutta, he wrote, suffering reveals the basic insecurity of the human condition. By itself, however, the confrontation with suffering is not sufficient to generate faith. For faith to arise, two conditions are required. The first is the awareness of suffering, which makes us recognize the need for a liberative path. The second is the encounter with a teaching that proclaims a liberative path. The faith that comes into being as a result of hearing the Dhamma is essentially an attitude of trust and commitment directed to ultimate emancipation. At the level of volition, faith reinforces the readiness to implement certain lines of conduct in the conviction they will lead to the desired goal. It is the mobilizing force of action, stirring up the energy to actualize the ideal. So it is that our experience of dukkha, for which suffering is the most common but imperfect translation, our reflection on that experience, our learning of the Dharma, and our developing faith or trust or confidence in the three refuges or the triple gem that motivates us, that commits us, that gives us the resolve to hike the Buddha trail. However, how do we sustain this motivation when faced with the entanglements of daily life, with the doubts that are certain to arise, and the distinctions of our aggressively consumerist and entertainment culture? After all, we have to maintain commitment to the process, as the Buddha indicates in the above quote, faith is a supporting condition for joy, joy is a supporting condition for rapture, rapture is a supporting condition for tranquility, tranquility is a supporting condition for happiness, etc. How does one hang in long enough for this wonderful process to happen? Well, back to hiking. Before I joined my hiking club, I hiked alone, but that was not very good because I could easily procrastinate about doing a hike if I felt too sleepy or too lazy, if I thought the weather was too cold or too hot. I know many other hikers who have had the same problem. This is a major reason we join hiking clubs. And it is best to hike with a group, or at least one other person, just in case you have an accident on the trail. First, the group provides encouragement and support, and commitment to a group hike means that you are less likely to skip the hike. The more seasoned members know the trails. You can ask them for many kinds of advice, which they can provide from their experience, not just from books. Second, the group's hike leader has scouted the hike and knows the easy, moderate, and strenuous stretches. The hike leader knows if fording the streams will be easy or difficult and how to ford each one. The hike leader has drawn up maps for everyone so all know where they are going. The hike leader knows where other trails intersect and thus where one can go astray. The hike leader knows the best place, the best pace, and provides it. In other words, this is a hiking sangha, and a hiking sangha can make all the difference in undertaking routinely successful hikes. So it is with Dharma practice. First, a local group or sangha often makes the critical difference in whether an individual will continue to practice or not. Many people who endeavor along the way without sangha support either go astray or simply give up for a variety of reasons. A local group, even if very small, meets once a week, that meets once a week or so, can strengthen the members' practice, their meditation practice, their liturgy practice, their moral practice, and their study practice. We can better stitch our practice into everyday life with the help of a sangha of our Kalyana Mitras, our spiritual friends. This is a kind of sangha refuge. Many who have begun the path never finish because of the lack of such a supportive sangha of Kalyana Mitras or spiritual friends. A very valuable part of Buddhist practice in daily life is regular interaction with your sangha friends, especially if your sangha group can develop a true sense of community. And now you can also have such a group via Zoom. Second, the hike leader is both the Buddha and the other Buddhist teachers, be they scholars, meditation masters, pastoral counselors, etc. The Buddha is the pathfinder, the one who has scouted and hiked and blazed the trail to the end point and can tell us about it from his experience of it. The seasoned hikers are like other Buddhist teachers. They are a wealth of advice and other support based on their previous hikes. And nowadays in the West, we have many good Buddhist teachers. The maps the hike leader prepares are like the sutras and related writings. Only a hiking fool would head off on trails without either a map or previous in-depth experience. Serious hikers know their maps and how to read them. A clear understanding of a map, especially with a narrative, makes the hike clear. The hiker can clearly see where other trails can take him or her off course. And so it is with sound knowledge of the sutras and related writings. One of the major deficiencies still remaining in the West today is a lack of sufficient study of the sutras and other collections. So it is important for local sitting groups and other local sangha groups to include sutra and other textual study as a regular activity. It is a form of practice. This is especially true because there is a kind of dialectic of study and practice in the Buddha way, an ascending dialectic. An example of this is seen in the life of Chinul, perhaps Korea's greatest Zen master, in my point of view. He lived from 1158 to 1210. In his own practice, he would experience a penetrating insight while reading a line of text, soon after having completed a period of intensive meditation. The text provided Chinul with a breakthrough prompt for which his intensive meditation had prepared him, and the result was a profound realization. Textual study also helps sustain a full Dharma practice, rather than a truncated Dharma practice, wherein meditation has been stripped from its context just as one of the three trainings or studies. Prajna, understanding or wisdom, sila, morality or ethics, and samadhi, concentration or meditation. Before one hikes, one needs to make a list of what to take and put in one's backpack or fanny pack. This is like Buddhist liturgy. Daily recitation or chanting of liturgy at home is a powerful support and reminder of the requisites of the practice path and what it is all about. Liturgy practice includes the valuable Asian Buddhist custom of having a home altar and a quiet spot dedicated to meditation or chanting or prostrations. The liturgical details of this can vary widely according to the practitioner's tradition, but the supportive value is without question. And there are many, many things that one can focus on. Now, if one is to hike well, one needs to develop the habit of hiking regularly, as I've mentioned. Otherwise, one gets out of shape. So it is with Buddhist practice. It is vital to establish a daily routine. Without such a routine, practice can easily wane. An example of an effective routine is a morning observance. It's, for me, my favorite time to meditate. We all have some kind of morning routine. After you get up in the morning, you either shower or wash your face, don't you? I hope so. Brush your teeth. I hope so. Get dressed. I really hope so. And get something to eat. It's good for you. So if you do such good things for your body, why don't you do them for your mind? If you shower or wash your face, then why not wash your mind? If you brush your teeth, then why not brush your mind? If you put on clothing that both protects you and makes you look good, then why not clothe your mind with what protects you and brings out the best in it? If you nourish your body, then why not nourish your mind? You can do that with morning liturgy and meditation, chanting or prostrations, or maybe even a quiet read, a few paragraphs of something of a good book. The key to success is not to make these long when you start, but to make them regular, to make them a habit. Habit formation is first. So start with a 2-minute liturgy and a 5 to 10 minute sit or prostrations. Once that becomes a habit, make it a 5-minute liturgy and 15 or 20 minute sit or prostrations, chanting. Then lengthen it again as best possible and as suits your circumstances. If you have next to no time some morning because of an early obligation, do not fail at least to do a micro mini liturgy and sit, a quick 3 refuges and a token 2-minute sit. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I assure you this itsy bitsy teensy weensy micro mini substitute reinforces the routine of your practice. It maintains the continuity of your practice. It continues the momentum of your practice by preventing a break in your practice. This is important because once procrastination finds an opening, it can slowly but steadily start to erode your practice. Once you have developed a durable practice, then the practice itself becomes the motivation to continue. In a sense, your practice practices you. You become the practice. This is similar with veteran hikers. After one has developed a sound hiking habit, that habit becomes the motivation to continue. In my club, we have regular hikers in their 70s and 80s. Some of them have been hiking for about 30 years. Our oldest hiker was 93, and she still joined us on occasion and did her own slow micro mini hike. Now, as we hike, we need good boots or shoes and socks that support and protect our feet. We need clothing that suits the weather and the season. We need a wide brim hat, sunglasses, and sunblock that protect us from the sun. We need ample water or Gatorade, something similar that replenishes our system. And we need insect repellent that wards off ticks, chiggers, and mosquitoes, because there will be ticks, chiggers, and mosquitoes. That is, we need to sustain and protect our health. It is unwise to hike without these things. And so it is when hiking the Buddha Trail. We need to maintain our physical and mental health. This means avoiding the affectations and extremes that can get attached to practice, especially from inauthentic teachers, pseudo-teachers, and cults. A good reference on that in the Pali Canon is in the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle-length sayings, the Chanki Sutta, C-A-N-K-I, the Chanki Sutta, which is Majjhima Nikaya, middle-length saying, Sutra number 95. As I mentioned before, one valuable piece of hiking equipment is the hiking stick, or a set of trekking rods, which provide balance while traversing rocks and streams, and support while ascending and descending, especially descending. Using a hiking stick can help prevent twisted ankles, stressed knees, and more. Such balance on the Buddha Trail comes from our spiritual friends, our study, and a wise and experienced teacher. After all, the Buddha's path is called the middle way, and we can also call it the balanced way. As any hiker knows, most mountain trails have easy stretches that are usually somewhat level or gently up and downhill, and strenuous stretches that are usually steep and sometimes rocky. And so it is with our own practice of the Dharma. We need to be aware that our practice will have easier phases and more challenging phases, smooth periods and rough periods. There will be times when it seems we are making no progress as such, and other times when progress is clear but demanding. This is when a teacher and spiritual friends are very valuable. As I briefly noted earlier, there are also many pleasing and beautiful things along most trails. Most trails have one or more beautiful views from a cliff, peak, or ridge. These views provide panoramas of forests and fields and far-off towns and cloud shadows moving across the forest tops of other mountains. Sometimes there are streams with cascading waterfalls. Sometimes there are abundant wildflowers and radiant green moss. Sometimes there is the soothing sound of wind rustling through the leaves on trees. It is pleasant to stop and indulge in these, but this stopping also delays progress on the trail. And so it is on the Buddha Trail. There are sublime or blissful experiences where one wants to just stay and dwell. Many meditation teachers in all traditions have warned their students about what I call blissing out experiences or abiding in sweet samadhis. Such abiding delays progress on the Buddha Trail, and we need to be mindful and move on. And so it is that hiking the mountain trails resembles hiking the Buddha Trail. In my case, each practice informs the other, provides insights into the other. And so it is with the Dharma in our daily life. Dharma practice improves and transforms our daily life. And our daily life provides the opportunities for nitty-gritty Dharma practice. Now, I think that you have heard more than you wanted to hear of merging hiking and Buddhist practice, which is simply a sort of contrivance to exemplify practice and our lives. So I wish to conclude with these few basic points. 1, Buddhism is a verb, I like to say. It is doing, it is acting by body, speech, and mind. It is a transformative way of living. It is how we live our lives and how we go about doing what we do so that transformative awakening occurs for the happiness of all sentient existence. The key summary of this practice is in the Dhammapada, verse 183. Sabbapapasa karanang kusalasa upasampada sachitta parayo dapanang itang buddhana sasanang. The non-doing of any evil, the performance of what's skillful, the cleansing of one's own mind. This is the teaching of the awakened ones. This involves the integrated threefold training in morality, sila, meditation, samadhi, and understanding or wisdom, prajna, that is presented in the 6 perfections and the Eightfold Path. If we live our lives according to this clear counsel, then we do not have to concern ourselves with what happens after death, for that will have taken care of itself simply by living the Dharma in our lives. It is a teaching for this world. Buddhism is a performing art, so become a master performer. There is no real separation between our ordinary daily lives and our practice of the Dharma. Wherever we are is the practice place, be that place at home, at work, on a commute, or on the Appalachian Trail. How we go about what we do is our practice, where formal practice and informal practice are not separate. They interpenetrate. Practice is really a whole cloth, a single fabric. Additionally, whatever we are doing, wherever we are, informs our practice in some way. My hiking informs my practice, and my practice informs my hiking. Someone else's driving may inform her practice, and her practice may inform her driving. I hope mindfulness, mindful driving. The devil is in the details of our life. For big events are small ones writ large. How we react to frustration, how we react to disagreeable people, how we react to animals and people in need, how we react to illness, how we react to the environment, etc., constitutes practice. My environmental footprint is my practice. How I treat my pets, how I answer the phone, how I open and close doors are my practice. Finally, number 4, my practice is here and now. That's the only reality now. But it points beyond, just as the mountain trail points to the end. If I have prepared the proper provisions and hike the Appalachian Trail with full awareness, I am confident that I will arrive at the trail's endpoint, Mount Katahdin in Maine. If I have prepared myself and practiced Dharma with full awareness, I am also confident that I will arrive at the endpoint of the Buddha Trail. While I am hiking a trail up a mountain in Shenandoah National Park, I am also hiking the Buddha Trail up Mount Dharma. And so it is with all of us. May your hiking and your wayfaring go well for you and all sentient beings. That's it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Michael.
Thank you.
That'll be 50 cents. Okay, you have 15 minutes to jabber.
I have a suggestion to go to Boulder Field in Pennsylvania, Pocono. Whole bunch of boulder that you need to mindful to walk everywhere.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
By the Harmony Lake.
Yeah, that's called scrambling.
Scrambling? A big
Scrambling.
boulder. Yeah.
Yeah, you scramble up the boulders. You're using your legs and your arms and your hands.
Now you have to jump from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find within a split second, you need to know what the next step, so you cannot have a monkey mind there.
We have a mountain like that in Virginia, in the Shenandoah. It's called Old Rag, because it's ragged, and you have to jump in several places from boulder to boulder.
I think, Liana, you should go that one. It's really fun. You need to have a good shoes though, not slippery. The boulder is very, very smooth.
Mm.
But yeah, it's fun. I like to go there, but lately I did not go yet.
I usually hike the Gap. It's a more challenging one.
Too high, very high. Straight in my knee.
Yeah, I don't think I would advise you to.
Yeah, it's too high, that one, too steep sometimes. But then in Boulder Field, I think, Diana, you should try that. You know?
Yeah, I've never been there.
Do you know where the Harmony Lake? Hickory Run.
No, I have to look it up.
Yeah, it's from your place, maybe like 30 minutes, not that far. So close to the outlet store.
Got it.
You pass the outlet store, yeah. I mean, out.
I'll try to find it.
Yeah, Boulder Field. It's very, very famous. It's good. I haven't been there yeah, maybe Jane should go there too. But she has knee problems. She's gonna break the knee. Right? Or back, I don't remember.
Oh, it was the back I had fixed, yes.
Yeah. I don't know, the rest of you is too far. This is a local from us here in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area.
I think you just need to look at local maps to find out for yourself. Maybe that would be a good way to find easy things at first, to just sort of walk around or something.
Yeah.
It's a little bit far from my
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little bit far from me, but Shenandoah National Park is not so far.
Yes.
And we have, as I mentioned, the Appalachian Trail is only 19 miles from me, 19 minutes, 13 miles. And there are a lot of places where I can go and just do a short hike. That's just the one I did with Jane. Many years ago. We went out, we went uphill.
Well, it was not quite that bad, but we do need to do it again.
Yeah. Water Gap is good. So maybe I should organize one during the Dharma retreat.
Yeah.
Well,
one thing that a lot of older people, since I live in an older place, do is we are very fortunate to have the Potomac River and the C&O Canal so close, just a mile and a half away. And you can actually take that from Washington, D.C. up to Cumberland, Maryland, then you get into the Great Allegheny Passage, which goes to Pittsburgh. And a lot of people hike that, bike it, and so forth. It's easy to get to. And it's gentler.
Oh. Another place that we can come from my Bodhi Monastery is the what do you call that? High Point Park.
Yeah, I've been there, I think.
Yeah, so we can walk the organize.
What is that one?
High Point, New Jersey.
The highest point in New Jersey. There's a big obelisk there.
Yeah, there's an obelisk there. You can see it from Pennsylvania.
Up all the way to up there, you can see Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. By the water, by the Delaware water there. It's nice. That's not difficult park there. It's not too far from Bodhi Monastery either. So maybe we can do it during the Dharma retreat, right?
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of just meditate in the Buddha hall, so we go up there.
Well, you know, a lot of those are like named after Indian tribes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that is a little bit long though, that one.
Yeah, they are, yeah. No, but around here we have one.
Back.
Anyway.
Yeah, in your area probably different than here.
Wampanoag.
Yeah.
I'm wondering too if we might combine it with BGR donations, right? So we plan the hike.
Yeah,
and
they
then we
always
get
go to the city though,
sponsors.
BGR, right?
Well, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. I mean, this group could do it on its own.
Yeah.
And then, you know, get sponsors saying, okay, we're doing this hike, and then whatever we're able to get from you know, in donations, we donate it to BGR. Just a thought.
Yeah, there is a group here in Washington County, Maryland, where I live, which is the Interfaith Commission. And what they do is they have a hike every year, and it includes different degrees of length, different degrees of challenge. And that's how they raise money, a lot of money for charity work.
Hey, Larry, did we do once, right? And it did not work too well.
A couple of years ago, we did one.
Oh,
with
not couple, maybe 5 years ago. I still have the sign.
Yeah, Dana.
Yeah, Dana did. Yeah, where is Dana? Dana didn't show up today.
Yeah, there was only like 3 or 4 of us who were there.
I know.
Okay, I vaguely remember that, but
you did not come. You did not.
But you know, I did not. But I don't know, the hike during the retreat, I mean, could be both the Chinese groups and the English program.
It can be, but the Chinese just always feel the program so dense. This is all
yeah,
that's
and, true.
You know, they very, well, how I say, diligent, I should say, right? So dense that they have to read the whole book in a week. Wow.
Right.
At the end of the day, they all collapse like snoring already. Go to the bed and yeah, the Chinese group is Dharma retreat. They don't have a relaxed program. They're very, very condensed.
Very intense.
Intense, yeah. Even like now, after this, I have to follow this Chinese group every night. I'm like
tired.
Never mind tired, collapse.
So Faye, when is the Chinese group ending this year?
Friday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard, yeah.
We have 3 more days, yeah. Because I think English group, I don't want to make it too long because a lot of people have to work still.
Yeah, when we had it longer in days of yore, people started to float away.
Yeah. Even like here, we already float away few.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially today, they have to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Chinese group, they go the whole world. See, it's a worldly thing. They go all over the world. So the over people is not from just United States.
Yeah.
Other country, but the English group, I just do it for the local people that they can be. It's a driving distance mostly, but yeah. I mean, because of the Australian teacher and the New Zealand teacher, so the devotees also join us in the evening. Now they're sleeping, so they cannot come. So in the evening has more people from those area. Last year we have from Malaysia and Singapore, but this year they did not come. So maybe they're busy or something, I don't know. But,
oh, it could be a lot of things.
A lot of things going on the daily life, I think. One time we have from Germany, yeah. So, but that's very rare. Getting less people want to come to join this Dharma retreat. I think it's only 4 days is a little bit too much sometimes for some people, I think, for the English speaking people. Yeah. I think we have a good program. We always have a good teachers.
If you tried to cut it down and tried to fit everything in, it would be hard.
What do you mean? You
like
want
you can't knock it down the 4 days if you're doing practice, like if you're there. I mean,
you practice at home.
Right. No, I mean that the fact that if you tried to cut it down, you'd be missing out information even more. That's all I'm saying.
You mean the days?
Yeah, because it's hard to fit in so much information in a short time, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, if you don't have this variation, you don't learn the whole Buddhism, right?
That's the point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So we have the meditation if we're in a monastery. We also have this chanting, dependence, things like this. So the chores, for the generosity program and things like this. But now in Zoom, we cannot do that.
Yeah.
So maybe next year we go back to monastery.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see what happens between now and then.
Yeah, we should cut down all this virus, right?
Oh, it's going to be with us for a while.
Oh boy, no. Right. So 3 more minutes. Anybody want to fit in anything else?
Any questions?
Suggestions?
I have one question, but it's so stupid, I'm afraid to say.
Why are you telling us the stupid question and you ask?
Right.
Go ahead. It can't be stupid.
Say something good. No stupid.
When you take refuge, it's like making a commitment, right?
Yeah, a vow.
Once you take the refuge, you have to live 5 the ways that you have to live once you make that commitment. And what if you break one? What happens? It sounds stupid, right? So.
No, it's not stupid. If for example, you break one of the 5, I think, precepts.
Yes, precepts.
What you're talking about is that you basically contemplate, why you broke it, what the causes were, and try not to do it again. No thunderbolt will come out of the sky. No devil is going to pop up and threaten you with eternal damnation or something like that. You just note that, okay, this time I did that. I shouldn't have done that. These are the reasons I did. I'll try not to do that again, and you carry on. They're often called the 5 training rules. So that's what they are. They are for training, for improving your life and the life of people around you, for transformation. So they're devices, they're vehicles. So if you take refuge and you do the 5 precepts, you do your best not to break the precepts. But if you do, you use it as a teaching moment.
That's what Bhikkhu Bodhi said is a training rule.
Yeah,
it's
training
not
rule.
definite. It's not a definite you have to do it. Sometimes if you don't know it, you improve it. And when you realize that's part of the thing it's not supposed to do on this teaching, so you perfect them. It doesn't mean that definitely you cannot do that. Even like even the law, right? They said don't over speeding. You're still speeding, but we try not to. That's the one training rule.
Yeah.
The precept is a little bit more.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Have a good one.
Okay.
So training rule is more easy to accept than precept.
Yeah.
A lot of people take it too seriously when they talk about precept. But I think Bhikkhu Bodhi used a training rule. I think it's good. It's a guidance for you to be perfect.
Yeah.
Try to be perfect. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Larry, I think it's your moment. You have a different T-shirt on today.
Yeah.
You're no longer Captain America.
1 minute too late now.
Yeah, let me just find the image. It disappeared again. I must have closed it by accident. All right, there it is.
It disappeared.
There we go.
All right, 3 bows to the Buddha. Bow to the teacher.
And the teacher to the participants. Okay, see you.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you,
Yes, thank you. That was
Michael.
wonderful.
See you next